WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Enough is enough, and it's time for a change!
I can't believe I'm putting my voice to this.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Thank you for your irrelevant opinion.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon Derry.
The first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say.
I'm a broadcast journalist. I have a right to my opinion.
Oh, son of a...
I am the best on this microphone, in that ring, even in commentary.
There's the sound of the bell, and we are set to go. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you for a jam-packed SummerSlam weekend. That's right, I'll have the predictions certain to go wrong coming up later in the hour here. Plus, a whole bunch more, as this is also, at least for me on a personal standpoint, I guess for lack of a better term, a huge event going on later tonight at the MFPW Arena, 541 Mantua Avenue in Paulsboro, New Jersey. One spot left for the Monster Ticket, and 60 men will be vying for it in a two-ring, 60-man battle royal. The winner will go on later that night to compete with qualifiers Matt McIntosh, Ryan Gallione, Paid in Full's Royal Money, the Elite Athlete Mike Orlando, Cody Vance, and LSG Leon St. Giovanni for the Monster Ticket. Now, the winner of the Monster Ticket can use it at any time for a shot at any championship in the MFPW. Elimination in the 7-man contest occurs by pinfall, submission, or being thrown over the top rope to the floor. Plus, the Beast Cartel defend their tag titles. Britt Baker defends the MF Girls Championship, and so much more. It all goes down tonight at the MFPW presented by the world-famous Monster Factory, 541 Mantua Avenue in Paulsboro, New Jersey. The doors open at 6, and the action starts at 7, and boy, is there going to be a lot of action, that's for sure. Check out the MFPW and all things Monster Factory on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, as well as at monsterfactory.org. Plus, check out past matches, bios, bloopers, and more at the mfnetwork.com. And that's all part of a huge weekend that I'm in the midst of, which, yeah, I'll be honest with you lovelies out there. This is live on tape. The reason being that I'm part of the MF Super Camp going on at the Monster Factory, which started at noon yesterday and featured a litany of instructors and otherwise, including former strength and conditioning coach for NXT, Matt Wichlinski, also Rudy Boy Gonzalez, teaching various things involving, or giving some tips and whatnot as far as wrestling goes. Les Thatcher, certainly a wrestling legend to say the least. Also Brutal Bob Evans of Ring of Honor fame. And, well, that's right, the quintessential stud muffin himself, Joel. He thought we were talking about the monster that certainly has produced a factory of Gertner. Plus, former NXT star Josh Woods was in the house as recently as Thursday night. So, a lot going on for this camp. Although, don't fret, as if you missed out on this one, well, fortunately, there's another one coming up in October that already has Rip Rogers featured. So, definitely want to look forward to all of that going on here. But enough about that. Let's get into the news and notes regarding this past week, and quite a bit going on, including a power couple suspended. That's right, WWE announcing on Wednesday the suspension of both Alberto Del Rio and Paige for violating the WWE wellness policy. Both Paige's and Del Rio's suspensions began on Thursday and are 30 days in length due to it being their first violations of the policy. In Paige's case, the suspension was announced on her 24th birthday. Bummer. In Del Rio's case, while he wasn't advertised for SummerSlam, he'll also miss out on the SmackDown-branded Backlash Network special, set to air live on September 11th, just 3 weeks after SummerSlam. It still boggles my mind that WWE and TNA, I mean, I understand it in one sense because September 11th, patriotism, yay America, especially 15 years since the attacks in 2001. So I understand kind of wanting to get eyeballs on something special that you're going to do for that, especially for a pro-USA entity like professional wrestling is, even though it's more global than ever now. There's always this Americana stigma, and I talked a little bit about it last week, that seems to go on. The fact that WWE has put in for this Backlash Network special on September 11th, that TNA was vying to try to have Bound for Glory, their pay-per-view, their biggest pay-per-view of the year, on September 11th. And, oh, by the way, for those fans of the pigskin, that's right, that is the first Sunday of NFL football, too. So there's going to be a lot of competition for various eyes when it comes to sports and competition and whatnot. I know that as the calendar turns to the fall months, usually WWE especially tends to dread it, more so on Monday nights because their ratings tend to take a bit of a hit once Monday Night Football starts. But the fact that everybody kind of has their eyes set on September 11th, you would think that maybe WWE would possibly kind of had thought, all right, maybe we should hold off and back down to the NFL in this case, but I guess they needed that additional network special considering they couldn't go the Sunday before because that's Labor Day weekend, and they don't want to go 2 consecutive weeks of network specials or pay-per-view events back-to-back, so I guess they were kind of shoehorned into that, but I don't know. I just think that going up against the NFL doesn't usually work out so well. Remember the last time that it happened?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the XFL!
Yeah, so there was that. However, this time around, I guess they figure, well, we've already got their $9.99 a month, so, yeah, we'll do whatever we damn well please. Or something like that. So as if all that wasn't bad enough, felt like we were going from Future Endeavor Friday to Suspension Thursday, as on the heels of the announcement of Del Rio and Page being suspended, one day later, WWE announced that Ava Marie has violated the wellness policy as well and will be out 30 days. The suspension went into effect this past Thursday, the 18th, also, and in Ava Marie's case, she'll lose a SummerSlam payday as she was initially announced this week to be part of the 6-woman tag team match on the pay-per-view card, along with Natalya and Alexa Bliss against Carmella, Becky Lynch, and Naomi. So who will replace Ava Marie in the match? Well, it's yet to be determined as of, well, anything that I've heard, but let me look into an option because I can't touch. That's right, why not Nikki Bella? According to ProWrestlingSheet.com, Bella has received medical clearance to return to the ring following her neck surgery way back in late January. Now, I don't know if that's a spoiler necessarily or not. I haven't looked into any, behind the scenes anything. And even if I did, I don't really like talking about it. It's just not... I'd rather not ruin any potential surprises if there are any. This is just speculation on my part because it happens to be one of them coinky-dinks where, well, Ava Marie's out and all of a sudden apparently Nikki Bella is cleared to return, so you could put 1 and 1 together and make 2, but knowing my luck, it'll probably end up adding up to 4 or something like that. Now, going away from WWE for a moment, an interesting international triple threat has also occurred. In a coordinated announcement, Ring of Honor Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre, or CMLL, have pledged to work with each other to create a superior blend of styles and athletes found nowhere else in the wrestling world. That's right, NJPW has had working relationships with ROH and CMLL individually, but now ROH and CMLL have teamed and have coordinated their efforts with New Japan Pro Wrestling. What this means for Ring of Honor fans is a continued presence of NJPW stars on selected events like Death Before Dishonor, which was last night on pay-per-view, and Field of Honor from MCU Park in Brooklyn on Saturday, August 27th, and more CMLL stars appearing on Ring of Honor events as well. Now, this next part is what I find even more interesting. Part of the new agreement, CMLL will be bringing Ring of Honor stars to Mexico on an ongoing basis as both companies look to grow their individual brands all over the world. Now, CMLL, which began promoting events back in 1933, currently competes in New Japan Pro Wrestling's annual Fantastica Mania tour every January. Ring of Honor hosts New Japan Pro Wrestling for the annual War of the Worlds tour in May, and Ring of Honor was added to New Japan Pro Wrestling's schedule for Honor Rising in February of 2016. So, kind of an interesting international flair, to say the least. And just even more of an infusion. It almost seems like what Jeff Jarrett's trying to do with Global Force Wrestling, but I guess it's hard to say whether it's better or worse necessarily, but it's a different approach, and it seems to be working for the well-established Ring of Honor, and now teaming up with CMLL as well as New Japan Pro Wrestling. You can only imagine some of the dream matchups that a lot of the folks over the IWC are themselves over. Yeah, the bleeps pretty much tell the tale. If you couldn't quite figure it out, this is live on tape. Yeah, I know. I'm breaking the fourth wall. Hey, Colt Cabana, how you doing? For those just tuning in, normally I'd be down at the MFPW. Well, I am down at the MFPW, but in a different form as the Super Camp is going on this weekend. So kind of shaking things up just a little bit in a sleep-deprived ramble, only this time with the opportunity to edit things, because that's what's... Well, it makes it a little bit more fun and entertaining because I can kind of bend the rules a little bit more, or at least adhere to the rules, but in an entertaining kind of way, or something like that. So, that being said, well, we're coming up on about the time to take our first time out here, but coming up on the program still, we've got something from the Don't Do Stupid department. Yeah, see, I told you, the bleeps are already a-coming. Also, some smashing notions about TNA and pumpkins. We'll tell you what Billy Corgan had to say. Also, a Taz radio special that's going to be airing after SummerSlam. A former TNA champion reportedly signing with WWE. And an FCC complaint that's wrestling-related, but no, it's not about this show. Believe it or not. All that and more coming up. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Buy your tickets now at SpectraTix.com. September 9th, kickboxing comes to New Jersey for Glory 33. Simon Marcus makes his second title defense in a middleweight rematch against Jason Wilness. Heavyweight champ Rico Verhoeven looks for a record 11 straight wins as he takes on Anderson Silva. A featherweight contender tournament. And Chai Lewis Perry looks to make it 4 wins from 4 knockouts. Plus, continuing action from the Women's Grand Prix tournament. 10 fights in one night. It's Glory 33 New Jersey, September 9th. Sun National Bank Center, Trenton. Buy your tickets now at SpectraTix.com.
Hello, this is Karen Murphy, Secretary of the Department of Health.
And I'm Environmental Protection Acting Secretary Patrick McDonald with an important message about the Zika virus.
The best way for you to prevent Zika is to avoid mosquito bites, especially if you're pregnant.
Use insect repellent on your skin and clothing.
And when outdoors, cover up with loose, light-colored clothing. To learn more, visit zika.pa.gov.
This message sponsored by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Are you curious what old antiques, collectibles, or household contents are worth? Listen Friday mornings from 9 to 10 a.m. for What's It Worth with Mike the Appraiser, right here on 1490 WBCB.
Play Power Sevens, the new instant game from the Pennsylvania Lottery with 10 top prizes of $70,000. Pick up the game today. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. Must be 18 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. The Pennsylvania Lottery again generated more than $1 billion last year for programs that benefit older Pennsylvanians. Visit PALottery.com for more details.
You're really disappointing me right now.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your host, Fearon Derry.
It's Slobber Knocker good!
I appreciate the compliment, and thank you so much for recognizing my brilliance.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you live on tape as I'm down at the MFPW Arena gearing up for a huge event tonight. Well, really a huge event all weekend, the MF Super Camp currently going on, and for that reason I wasn't able to step aside to be able to be with you live, so this one kind of live via satellite, I guess, or live on tape, or almost live, or I don't know, pick whatever Rowan and Martin's laugh-in reference you want to go with, because I know they had a few of those as well. But yes, the event tonight should be fantastic. You definitely want to check it out. 541 Mantua Avenue in Paulsboro, New Jersey. One of the biggest events held at the MFPW Arena. One spot left for the Monster Ticket, and 60 men will be vying for it in a 2-ring, 60-man battle royal. And this includes a lot of the people who attended the camp who are coming in from all over the world. So it should be very interesting to say the least. And you never know who's going to show up, considering that WWE, they're not too far away up in Brooklyn, just a maybe couple-hour drive down to Paulsboro, New Jersey. Like I said, you never know who could make an appearance. This is definitely something you want to check out. The winner of that 60-man Battle Royal will go on later in the night to compete with qualifiers Matt McIntosh, Ryan Gallione, Paid in Full's Royal Money, the Elite Athlete Mike Orlando, Cody Vance, and LSG for the Monster Ticket. Now, the winner of the Monster Ticket can use it at any time for a shot at any championship in the MFPW. Elimination in that 7-man contest will occur by pinfall, submission, or being thrown over the top rope to the floor. Plus, in tag title action, the Beast Cartel defend those championships. Also, Britt Baker will defend the MF Girls Championship. So much more as well. It all goes down tonight at the MFPW, presented by the world-famous Monster Factory, 541 Mantua Avenue in Paulsboro, New Jersey. The doors open at 6. The action starts at 7. Check out the MFPW and all things Monster Factory on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, plus at monsterfactory.org, and check out past matches, bios, bloopers, and more. Usually you'll see most of what I do in the bloopers section, I would imagine. But that's all at the mfnetwork.com. And actually, one of the things that's not necessarily a blooper is over the course of the past couple of months, I've been moved over to the commentators table. I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, well, yeah, you're in radio. You're the host of the longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in the history of terrestrial radio. Why wouldn't you be on commentary? Who knows, because I guess it's a self-confidence thing that I'm still kind of working on, in all honesty. But apparently I'm doing rather decently, and this will be my 6th event tonight, as the character has so eloquently been developed, and I'm sure Ted's going to crack up at this if he hasn't heard this already. Ted Efaw, of course, back in the studio, keeping the dials turned and the buttons pushed, or turning them and pushing them to keep me on the air, unless I finally go overboard and say something that is overly stupid, or if I forget to bleep something, one or the other. But my character, or I guess persona at this point, Fearon Burgundy, kind of after the Anchorman character by Will Ferrell. And it kind of makes sense because he's a 70s character. I've got the 70s afro going on, so it makes a lot of sense. It's something that kind of came from out of nowhere and just kind of taking the ball and running with it. So we'll see how that goes. But it should be a fun event tonight. You definitely want to check that out. And well, all the stuff going on with the MFPW, because I mean, they're the place to be to get to the place to be. That's certainly for sure. Anyway, back to, oh man, some of the fun things here. First of all, from the Don't Do Stupid department. During this past Monday's Raw, an audience member ran into the ring in the middle of a Seth Rollins promo, forcing Rollins to improvise. That's right, about 2 hours into the show in Corpus Christi, Texas, Seth Rollins was out in the ring trying to summon the Demon King. Of course referring to Finn Balor. He was accusing Balor of being too scared when suddenly Rollins paused and was distracted by something to his left. The camera remained in a tight shot, but a figure can briefly be seen running up to Rollins as Rollins bats him away. Rollins was then thrown off for a few moments by this interruption, and the camera remained in a close-up as security removed the fan from the area. Moments later, though, Rollins improvised and sarcastically asked if this person who had run into the ring was the Demon King. By the time the show cut back to a wide shot, the fan was nowhere to be seen. We've got the audio of it right here for you.
I am the face of your failure, and at SummerSlam, you've got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. That's the Demon King right there, huh? Is that the Demon King?
No, it's not the Demon King. It's some bag in a helmet who decided that it would be a good idea to get in the ring in the middle of a live wrestling TV show. Now, I know that you're passionate about professional wrestling. Why else would you be listening to this show? But interjecting yourself into what's going on inside the ring is nothing but trouble. I mean, not only the legal ramifications, but the safety aspect of it as well. I mean, the fact that once you get in there, I mean, you're not sure what a wrestler will do, and more so a wrestler's not sure what you will do, so they're going to try to stop you from doing something stupid, and the way they're going to do that is by legitimately hurting you. Unless, I mean, in this fan's case, he was lucky enough the security was able to step in because Rollins couldn't really do much in the middle of a promo, but if it's in the middle of a match, who's to say that a wrestler won't try to subdue some idiot entering the ring or entering the ringside area by inflicting physical harm? I mean, it's something that you've seen at least in little bits and pieces for decades. That might have to be a show topic at some point, when idiot fans attack, and just kind of either montage or kind of look back at some of the dumbest fans who, frankly, it doesn't matter what their names are, who have interjected themselves in the middle of wrestling things. Sometimes it's been cool. Well, I don't want to say cool, but sometimes it hasn't been something where violence has occurred. Kind of like the example that jumps out to me is when you had a few fans that were congratulating Hank Aaron as he broke Babe Ruth's record as far as the career home runs in Major League Baseball, and you saw a couple of fans around second base kind of giving him a congratulatory pat on the back as he rounded the bases. Something you definitely won't see anymore, because that was over 40 years ago, but in today's world, that's a little unrealistic to see something like that happen. However, it added to the genuineness of the moment. But and there were a few of those in wrestling, whether it was well, I mean, I'll save that for another time. That's something that could definitely be its own discussion without question. But the main story in this case is, especially now, I don't know if you're trying to get your 15 minutes of fame in or 15 seconds of fame, or trying to go viral on something by, hey, look what I did there. It's just not a good idea to get into the ringside area or into the ring if you're not a trained professional. I know it seems like kind of a dumb disclaimer to throw out there, but if you don't have idiots like this guy interjecting himself, then it's something that doesn't need to be said. But it's why we have warning labels on coffee cups noting, caution, coffee is hot. No, of course it's hot. Man, I am salty today, apparently. Like, even saltier than usual. I mean, it's a combination of sleep deprivation, being in a bad mood, but you can tell because I don't normally throw this many bleepables into a broadcast, especially when it's pre-recorded, because that means more work for me, and I usually try to make these pre-recorded efforts as painless as possible, but sometimes for the purposes of humor and for the purposes of emphasizing a point, sometimes certain added colorful language needs to occur. But I think part of that, too, is that I'm not really in the greatest of moods. I should be, but I don't know, just a little salty at the particular moment. We'll see if I can do something to sweeten it up. Actually, coming up in a little bit, I've got what would seem like something to make it even worse, but in actuality, it's rather entertaining in the FCC complaint. Actually, you know what? Well, why not? Now's a good time to get into that, as opposed to later, to try to kind of switch things up a little bit. This is courtesy of freelance writer David Bixenspan, at David Bix on social media, at David Bix, and presented in a mass forum courtesy of Jay Hunter and the boys over at OSW Review. Apparently, a fan, I know, this is like the stupid fan section here. A fan issued a complaint to the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, about WWE. And no, it had nothing to do with their content. It had nothing to do with, hearkening back to the Attitude Era and the scantily clad women and profanity and middle finger gestures and everything else. No. This complaint, which came in back in November of 2014. Well, I'll read what the claim for investigation was about, which I would imagine went nowhere because we're first hearing about it some 21 months after it happened. But the complaint had to do with wrestling storylines. That's right. Here is the legit problem description that was submitted to the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC. WWE is refusing to change up their storyline on Resuv. They meant to type Rusev, but I guess had a dyslexic moment with typing or something. But WWE refusing to change up their storyline on Rusev and Big Show. On October 20th, on Monday Night Raw Live, Rusev was about to rip down the American flag on national TV. WWE always tapes the shows, so there is your evidence. But for 3 months, Rusev and his manager badmouths America. Just attempting to rip down the flag is an act of terrorism, and it is illegal. This needs to be dealt with. WWE will not do a thing to change their storyline up. Also, Rusev assaulted a member of the armed forces on national TV live. The complaint goes on to say, WWE needs to be removed from airtime of all networks until they can change their storyline according to the laws. Are you my So this individual is complaining because of an anti-American storyline and the I guess anti-American patriotism that is going on in said storyline, because we know that's something new in professional wrestling. Okay, maybe not. I wonder if there was maybe there should be some more digging to see if perhaps a similar complaint was issued back in say 1990 and 91 when Sergeant Slaughter was an Iraqi sympathizer in storyline during the Persian Gulf conflict. Or let's go even further in the Wayback Machine. I wonder if there was a complaint back in, 1985 when you had Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik running around and Volkov getting booed for singing the Soviet national anthem while Iron Sheik would then run up to the drop-down microphone and go, Russia number 1, Iran number 1, USA, tuh. I wonder if there'd be a complaint about that because, they need, maybe it's a tongue-in-cheek way of saying that WWE needs to change up their storylines and not do the America Yay Boo Foreigner storyline. Because, Well, true. It is something that we've seen quite a bit over the years. Maybe that's where they're going with it. But that'd be kind of like doing a prank 911 call. I don't know why somebody would make a joke complaint to the FCC, to the Federal Communications Commission. That just, I nearly fell on the floor when I saw that. I thought it was absolutely hysterical. I'm without words. What can I say? Well, you know what? I know what I can say. Talk about a great time to pick things up, and I could certainly use it at this point. A drink from my good friends over at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA, where I still have to go and pick up. I'll have to wait till next weekend because, well, I'm kind of tied up this weekend with the MF Super Camp, but their newest bottle release, Escorted from the Building, a 9% Imperial Red Ale, created in part from the mindset of bartender and human resources expert in her own right, Kate. She is fantastic, and she didn't take guff from anybody, that's for sure. But Escorted from the Building, that is their latest bottle release, which you can pick up at the Broken Goblet Brewery. And a little bit later today, if you want to pregame for the Monster Ticket event at the MFPW down in Paulsboro. Again, something I wish I could do, but got to prepare for it. At 4 o'clock today, it's a frickin' awesome Saturday, as also on tap, a Tart Wild Cherry Saison Firkin. That taps at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Need something a little less tart and a little stronger? I know I do after those stories. Well, back on tap at the Broken Goblet is their Dark Strong Belgian Ale, their 11% ale, Trademark. Get it? Trademark. It's French. I'm no language expert, but I know it's French for delicious. Okay, that may or may not be true. Anyway, what is true is that it is delicious, and it's always a good time at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. Broken Goblet Brewing, the semi-official brewery of Pro Wrestling Weekly. Coming back, we're going to hear from Billy Corgan, TNA president, and what's going on with him. Also, let you know about a Taz radio special that will be airing after SummerSlam, and which former TNA champion has reportedly signed with WWE. We'll let you know who that is coming up. Plus, my predictions certain to go wrong for SummerSlam, and also we've got the birthdays as well, including the new feature, the Brucey Bonus. That's right, something outside of the realm of professional wrestling that I thought was interesting as far as the birthdays go. So a birthday Brucey bonus, that's a fun one to say. All that and more coming up here on this special SummerSlam weekend edition of Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
All of your favorite shops are still open while the new Dion Square is under construction. You may have already visited the brand new First National Bank branch or the new Pat Dion Beverages. When all the work is done, the new beautiful Dion Square will also feature a new Pennsylvania fine wine and spirits shop and a brand new CVS pharmacy. In the meantime, all of the shops are open for business while the new Dion Square takes shape, 518 South Oxford Valley Road in Fairless Hills. You won't see termites crawling across your floor, but thousands might be devouring the wood in your walls, weakening the structure of your home. For over 50 years, termite proofing and pest control of the Delaware Valley has been in the exterminating business. If you think you have a pest problem, they're the experts. Call them today at 215-639-5455. That's 215-639-5455 for TPPC. Termite proofing and pest control of the Delaware Valley gives your home or business peace of mind, knowing your pest problem is in their hands. Located at 1560 Bristol Pike in Bensalem, they use only EPA-approved material applied by licensed technicians. Call Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley at 215-639-5455.
All commentators heard on WBCB express their own views. Their opinions are not necessarily those of others on WBCB, including the staff and management.
My grandfather served in World War II. Spending time with him were the best memories of my life. I became a physician at VA because of my grandfather. so I can help others like him. I can't imagine working with better doctors or a more dedicated staff. I'm fulfilling my life's mission with the help of my team and thanks to these veterans. I'm proud to be a doctor at VA and proud to honor my grandfather every day. Search VA Careers to find out more.
Buy your tickets now at SpectraTix.com. September 9th, kickboxing comes to New Jersey for Glory 33. Simon Marcus makes his second title defense in a middleweight rematch against Jason Wilness. Heavyweight champ Rico Verhoeven looks for a record 11 straight wins as he takes on Anderson Silva. A featherweight contender tournament. And Chai Lewis Perry looks to make it 4 wins from 4 knockouts. Plus, continuing action from the Women's Grand Prix tournament. 10 fights in one night. It's Glory 33 New Jersey, September 9th. Sun National Bank Center, Trenton. Buy your tickets now at SpectraTix.com.
Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, August 20. On this date in 2001, WWF Monday Night Raw aired live from Sacramento, California. In the main event, Sarah pinned Diamond Dallas Page. On this date in 2003, TNA held its weekly pay-per-view number 58. In the main event, Raven defeated Shane Douglas, Christopher Daniels, D'Lo Brown, Conan, Abyss, Joe E. Legend, The Sandman, Mad Mikey, Kid Cash, BG James, and Ron Killings in a gauntlet match to determine the number 1 contender to the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. On this date in 2006, WWE held its SummerSlam pay-per-view. In the main event, Edge pinned John Cena to retain the WWE Championship. On this date in 2012, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Fresno, California. In the main event, Dolph Ziggler pinned Chris Jericho in a WWE contract versus Money in the Bank briefcase match. Jericho's contract was terminated as a result of the loss. This has been Today in Wrestling History, August 20.
This is Jim D'Amble Neidhart for the Hart Foundation, and you're listening to Pro Wrestling Weekly with Fearon Derry on 1490 WBCB, baby. Yeah!
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you, flying solo and on a delayed flight, or I guess airing in delay, or I don't know how to put it. Pretty much I'm down at the MFPW Arena, not live on location though, as I'm a part of the MF Super Camp going on this entire weekend. It started yesterday at 12 noon and runs all the way through till the end of SummerSlam, which, don't forget, later in this segment, I've got my predictions starting to go wrong for the SummerSlam pay-per-view. But a little bit more news coming your way as well, plus we've got birthdays still. Let's get right on into it. So, new TNA President Billy Corgan issued a Facebook video statement regarding his new role in the company and the status of his band, Smashing Pumpkins. Here's the wrestling-related highlights.
I'm very passionate about my job. If you can understand it, and those of you who at least care enough about me as a human being can understand, doing things I love outside of music make me love music even more. When music was the only thing I did, it drove me literally out of my mind. You all saw those interviews and those moments in my life where the pressure of feeling like, is this my life? Some guy hectoring me from the back to play a song I wrote 25 years ago. My whole life is reduced to this. Is this what my mother would want me to become? Is this the musician my father raised me to be? So you have to understand that by having things outside of music that I love and care about, that makes me a better musician. That makes me a better man. That makes me do what I want to do even more, even better. So show me where my music career has gone off the rails. It's actually on the rails for the first time in a long time. So take a step back, take a deep breath of those of you who think somehow this hurts. It doesn't at all. Okay, now let's go back to my day job now. Impact Wrestling, again, second biggest company in the world. Now, there are many challenges. This company has had some real difficult things going on internally. I've obviously stepped into the breach, partially on the ownership side, but now so more in management. It's fun, it's cool, and of course, you know, if you know me at all, I plan on evolving the thing forward. Can we make the coolest, edgiest, most groundbreaking wrestling company of the 21st century? I think it's possible. I think technology allows that. I think the content wars on the internet that are coming as Netflix and everybody steps into the sphere of being their own TV networks. So I'm excited about that. So if you can pick up all this, lots of good stuff all over the place. There's nothing bad. Good, good, good. When have you ever seen me say good, good, good? I'm not a rah-rah guy. I'll tell it to you straight. This is a good time. So if you're a Pumpkins fan and you think wrestling's going to hurt, it ain't going to hurt at all. And on the wrestling side, I am now president of a major company. That's an awesome responsibility. There are employees that work for this company, and then, of course, there is the talent in the ring, which at any given point is 25, 30. I now have a responsibility to them and their families to provide, to make sure that this company's heading in the right direction. I have a responsibility to them and their families to do my best. So for those people who want me to fail, for those people who are so into the other companies that they want us to fail, it ain't going to happen. Now, if I lose and I fail because I tried, well, then that's just life. But I'm going to fight because I love what I do, and I don't see anything wrong with it. And I've told that to Forbes, I've told that to Wall Street Journal, I've told that to the Rolling Stone. There's no shame in this game. This is a 100-year-plus business. We are an entertainment brand. It's no different than live theater or making a movie. It's lots of fun. We were on a rooftop yesterday doing some crazy shit with drones and can't give away the finish, but it was fun, okay? So anyway, enough. Lots of love to everybody, okay? I hope we gave you some good news. Some focus going forward.
Focus going forward. That's something that I could certainly use on my show without question. Another bit of TNA news. It was, well, I guess TNA and WWE related. It was reported on the CBS Fantasy Football podcast that Eric Young, former TNA champion, has signed with WWE. Host Jamie Eisenberg stated that he recently met with Young, who told him that he signed with WWE and will debut with NXT at some point over the next few weeks. Now, since Eric Young has already appeared on NXT TV, maybe Young meant in a full-time capacity, but that is yet to be determined. And in some other radio news, CBS Radio announced another special edition of The Taz Show, Body Slams and Beyond, airing after this Sunday's SummerSlam event from 11 p.m. until 2 a.m. Eastern. That's right, Taz will be live on CBS Sports Radio and various CBS Radio sports stations. In addition to airing on CBS Sports Radio on over 335 affiliates, the special will air on various CBS Radio sports stations, including The Fan in Dallas-Fort Worth and Washington, D.C., The Score in Chicago, WFAN in New York, the Sports Hub in Boston, and here in the Philadelphia area, that WIP station as well. So, good on Taz. I'll admit that I think after WrestleMania, as I was on my way home from the MFPW arena, it felt weird to turn on that particular station and hear Taz's voice. And not knowing about it ahead of time, I thought, wait, what? Why is Taz on the sports talk station here in Philly? But anyway, enough press for them. I've probably given them more than they probably deserve, and something tells me that if it's too much, then I might get a little talking to from Sean Lerman. Not the first and certainly won't be the last when it comes to various things here. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. The predictions certain to go wrong for the SummerSlam pay-per-view, and boy, are there a litany of matches, to say the least. 11 advertised. We'll go ahead and get into them. Well, we'll first start with the aforementioned 6-women's tag match. I'm still getting out of the habit of saying diva, although I've been clamoring for them to get rid of it, but old habits die hard. Carmella, Becky Lynch, and Naomi against Natalya, Alexa Bliss, and a yet-to-be-determined individual with Ava Marie's suspension. I'm thinking it's going to be the mystery team with whoever is replacing Ava Marie, which may be Nikki Bella, may not. We're not sure who, but I'm going with them on that one. Another tag match action, Enzo and Cass against Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. I gave a nice lengthy rant about those two. That should be a fantastic match, a nice balance of present and future, to say the least. And this is a toughie. I think on this big stage, in Brooklyn. Enzo and Cass's home. How you doing? I'm going with Enzo and Big Cass. How can you not? Some title match action. The U.S. title. Rusev defending against Roman Reigns. That's right, kind of taking a step back from the heavyweight title picture and challenging for the United States Championship. I'm going for Roman Reigns winning, but I don't necessarily like it. And by that I mean I have no confidence in that pick. But I'm going with it anyway. Something tells me I'm going to look back at these picks after the SummerSlam event and go, was I making these picks from the broken goblet or something after having a few too many? No, because I drink responsibly, but it will have felt that way. That's for sure. Speaking of titles, the tag titles. The New Day against The Club. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. I'm thinking New Day retains here on that one. Also, Cesaro against Sheamus in match number 1 of the Best of 7 series. Something you don't often see, but can tend to be rather fun. This is pretty much a coin flip here, and I don't really have a favorite in this regard because Cesaro, he's got the PWW karma, and Sheamus has the MF Pro Academy alum karma. So, I'd love to see both of them win, and I have a hunch that since it'll more than likely go the distance to the 7, that we'll see both of them win at some point here. In this one, I'm going to go with Sheamus. Why not? Also, the Intercontinental Championship. The Miz defending against Apollo Crews. I'm sure that Maurice will involve herself in some capacity to allow her husband, The Miz, to continue as Intercontinental Champion and continue being awesome. John Cena against AJ Styles. That's right, a big-time matchup to say the least. I see Cena winning after some potential backfiring interference by Jon Stewart, who's making another appearance at SummerSlam. Since there's the obvious beef, maybe Stewart continues the rivalry with Cena that he started last year after kind of showing favoritism toward Rollins despite their lengthy feud going all the way up to his departure from The Daily Show. I could see Jon Stewart getting involved, having it backfire, and Cena ending up getting the victory. And maybe it'll lead to something with Stewart and AJ Styles down the line. Okay, maybe not. I think Jon Stewart's enjoying being retired from The Daily Show and being able to go completely gray as he has, and not necessarily do as much political satire, although I'm sure he's going to have more than his share of it. Maybe they'll have him do a cameo or two for Indecision 2016, Trump versus Hillary. Yeah, the less I say about the politics, the better. So I'll stick with the backstage politics. Sasha Banks against Charlotte for the women's title with Dana Brooke barred at ringside. I'm sticking with the boss on this one, retaining the title that she just got. And then the 3 biggies. Our new 2 world champions, in a sense. The world title and the new Universal Champion. We'll go one at a time on this. Dean Ambrose over to Big Blue, defending the world title. Dean Ambrose against Dolph Ziggler. I think Ambrose retains there. Finn Balor taking on Seth Rollins to crown the new Universal Champion over on the Raw side of things. I think it'll be Finn Balor. And the Beast against the Viper. Suplex City versus Viperville. Brock Lesnar against Randy Orton. Orton, who has been out of action for a considerable time after having shoulder surgery, and I think that ring rust will cost him here. I'm going with the Beast, Brock Lesnar, despite the clouds of mystery regarding his character and the doping and all the other stuff with UFC. I think Lesnar being the attraction, he gets the Duke on that one. So going through them all again, Enzo and Cass, The New Day, Roman Reigns, Sheamus, Natalya, Alexa Bliss, and yet to be determined, The Miz, John Cena, Sasha Banks, Dean Ambrose, Finn Balor, and Brock Lesnar. Those are my predictions, certain to go wrong for SummerSlam. Well, we're just about at that time. Crazy how time flies when you're having fun, and sometimes it flies elsewhere as well. Oh, actually, before we get to that time, one other thing I got to let you know about. How could I forget this? Another appearance coming up for George's Cards and Collectibles, Saturday, September 10th from 10:30 to 12:30. So a little bit of overlap on the show here. Former WWE superstar and leader of the Exotic Express, Adam Rose, will appear at George's Neshaminy Mall location. George's Cards and Collectibles has been the leading collectibles store in the tri-state area for over 20 years. They have 3 locations, including their original store at 7755 New Falls Road in Levittown, in the Willow Grove Park Mall, and in the Neshaminy Mall in the movie theater wing. Get the latest info on George's Cards and Collectibles at their website, georgescollectibles.com, as well as through George's Cards and Collectibles on Facebook. All right, we'll get to birthdays in just a moment, but one last time, got to let you know about tonight. The MFPW Arena, 541 Manto Avenue in Paulsboro, New Jersey. 1 spot left for the Monster Ticket. 60 men will be vying for it in a 2-ring, 60-man battle royal. Yours truly as Fearon Burgundy on the commentary. The winner will go on later that night to compete with qualifiers Matt McIntosh, Ryan Gallione, Paid in Full's Royal Money, who you heard here on the show, the elite athlete Mike Orlando, Cody Vance, the current MF Live champion, whom we've heard here on the show, and the current Supersonic champion LSG Leon St. Giovanni. They're all vying for the Monster Ticket. Now, what is the Monster Ticket? Well, the winner of it can use it at any time for a shot at any championship in the MFPW. Elimination in the 7-man contest occurs by pinfall, submission, or being thrown over the top rope to the floor. Also, the Beast Cartel will defend their tag team championship, and Britt Baker defends the MF Girls Championship. She was on Raw not too long ago, about a month or so ago. All that and so much more going down tonight at the MFPW, presented by the world-famous Monster Factory, 541 Mantua Avenue in Paulsboro, New Jersey. The doors open at 6. The action starts at 7. Check out the MFPW and all things Monster Factory on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, plus at monsterfactory.org. Plus, check out past matches, bios, bloopers, and more at the mfnetwork.com. Well, now it's that time you've been waiting for, time for birthdays. That's right, 3 of them plus the Brucey bonus coming your way. On this date in 1964, Terry Polk was born. The former WWF women's competitor, best known as Tori, turns 52 today. She ended up leaving and doing a bunch of, I think she's now like a yoga master or something like that. How she is compared to DDP, oh, that's a whole nother story. Anyway, on this date in 1981, Brian Kelly was born. The former NXT wrestler and current WWE color commentator, best known as Byron Saxton, turns 35 today. And on this date in 1987, Jonathan David Eminger was born. The former NXT competitor, best known as Lucky Cannon, turns 29 today. And the Brucey bonus. Which way am I going to go? Well, on this date in 1931, going way, way back, Don King was born. That's right, the boxing promoter best known for promoting some of the most prominent names in boxing included Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Larry Holmes, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Bernard Hopkins, and Roy Jones Jr., among many others, as well as promoting such events including Ali's Rumble in the Jungle and the Thrilla in Manila, turns 85 today. Only in America. How about that? Anyway, that's going to do it for me. I'll be back next week in studio. That's right, back in studio, back live, ready to take your phone calls. Enjoy SummerSlam out there. And until next week, play us out, Nutsy.
1 o'clock and all's well.
Serving you better than ever before. This is 1490 WBCB.